What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by two things. Since we don't do any sponsorships here on the channel, I'll go ahead and show them out real quick. The first is my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name After Sound, and the second is a new podcast I just launched called Chasing Infinity. It is myself and ChatGPT as my AI co-host, and we dive into a wide range of topics in short-form videos just like these. So check it out. Links in the description below, and I appreciate the support. Okay, guys, I want to run some numbers here with you guys, and I know my math is infamous at this point, so I'll share the calculator with you, and if I do anything wrong, please call me out in the comments. But we were talking about this on a recent live stream in terms of going in heavy on a set, right? Now, you could buy a bunch of packs and whatever the packs cost, but I wanted to use a specific number for where the set of Rebellion is right now, which is about like $7,000, right? Like between $6,000 and $7,000. Now, here's the thing. When you look at how much that set can return for you over the course of, we'll call it 18 months to 3 years. And the reason I'm saying 3 years is because if we do 18-month rotations, well, then it's in modern format for 18 months, for 3 years, right? And obviously, there will have to be another set that you end up buying, but obviously, if you're rolling this along, then it kind of works out in the long run. So what I want to get at this is, again, just rough numbers, and I'm even going to use easy numbers for SPS, right? We're going to assume SPS is at a penny, even though we're slightly below it at this point in time. But the top players in the game are earning, over 30 SPS, over 35, 40 SPS per win. Obviously, that comes down later on in the season, but if you're a top tier player, you're at least getting 30 SPS. So I want to start out with 30 SPS per day times the 12 battles that you would win if you're a 50-50 player, right? 12 out of 24 energy. Now, obviously, I'm undercutting this a lot, but I'm just trying to be very conservative here. So basically what I'm trying to say is you're winning 360 SPS per day, but some people earn energy through glint, some people earn energy through reward chest, right? Whatever the case is, people get extra energy. So I'm not even talking about paying for energy. I'm not talking about any bonus energy. And as you can see here, I'm not even talking about tournaments, which could be another area and source of massive income, especially if you're one of the only people in these tournaments that has the collection. So again, this is maybe not in the context of Rebellion, but Conclave Arcana, which is coming up. Although I'm using Rebellion as the proxy here, as we've seen it rise back to about $7,000 in terms of its value, which I think is where it was in the beginning, maybe between like $7,000, $8,000. Again, it's ranged quite a bit, but let me get back to my example here. So 360 SPS per day. I'm going to multiply that by 365, and we have 131,000 SPS per year. Now, the reason that I want to talk about this in either an 18-month or a 12-month or 18-month or 3-year, right, 36-month time frame is because of the fact that if we have those rotations, it's going to be in that time frame. So let's say we were to go into Conclave Arcana in April, right? And the next set wasn't going to come out until October of 2026, for example. So if that's the case, you would have Conclave Arcana in modern format for those 18 months, and it would remain in modern format for another 18 months, right? So you're going heavy on it, and we're just going to remove, it'll be an independent variable. We're going to remove whatever set number 7 or whatever it is, right? And we're not going to count that, or, if you want, you can go into that, but that'll be a different calculation. Either way, my point is that you'll be able to play with this for 3 years, and therefore, 131,000 SPS per year. Let's multiply that by 3 years, and all of a sudden, look at that. We're just under 400,000 SPS. And if I multiply this by SPS at a penny, you can see here that it gets you $4,000 over the course of 3 years. Now, you're going to look at that and say, 50% return after 3 years. Some people might look at that and say that's great ROI. Some people might look at that and say that's terrible ROI, especially for crypto. But I'm not even focused on the rate of return. I'm simply focused on the amount of return at what I would consider a very conservative estimate in terms of the SPS you can earn, right? About 400,000, as well as the amount of, as well as the value of SPS. Because here's what happens, right? If you were to buy in and SPS goes to 2 cents, all of a sudden you've covered your costs, right? The $6,000 to $8,000 that you were going to spend, you're covering it over the course of 3 years. And guess what? You still get to keep those cards after the rotation out of Modern, and you can choose to continue playing with them in Wild or whatever it is that you want to do. They'll be fantastic cards, you know, power creep and all that. But I'm just surprised by these numbers because, again, this is not going to be for everybody, right? Not everybody has the capital to spend that much money. But if you do, this is why people engage with this. And so I know a lot of people are going to look at this and say, well, who would ever spend that kind of money? Well, I mean, first of all, it's going to be people that have the capital. But then the question becomes, why would they spend it? And when you look at numbers like this, as conservative as they are, it's like, well, if your set is going to hold its value somewhat decently, right, and you're going to recoup the cost of that set over the course of a couple of years, well, that's kind of interesting. Now, here's the thing. I don't think any of us are expecting SPS to be at a penny at a certain point next year when the flywheel is activated. Hopefully Bitcoin's in a bull run. We have, hardcore mode, glamour, land, and Conclave Arcana coming out. So once again, this is just a very conservative estimate. And obviously moving forward, we're going to be in a situation where there'll be less SPS given out, right? So I want to recognize that. This is a very simplified model. But what I'm trying to demonstrate here, and I'll close with this, what I'm trying to demonstrate here is why people would choose to spend money on this. Because I think there's a lot of folks who are just like, oh, this is a waste of money. Why would people ever do this? Why are people doing this? Well, here's the reason. First of all, maybe they just love the game. Maybe they just have extra money that they can spend, and more power to them that they want to spend it here in this ecosystem. But when you kind of run the numbers and you're willing to stick around for the long term, and you use very conservative kind of metrics here to figure out where you'll be, how much SPS you can earn. I mean, I look at that and it's like that's kind of crazy. I mean, that's kind of crazy. And I'll give a shout out to Mondroid real quick because Mondroid has been very transparent sharing his numbers. I'm curious to see where he's at. Mondroid, and not calling you out to get data from you, but only if you're willing to share, because I know that you've been tracking it over the past year once Rebellion came out. But this is, like I said, this is just very rough math for where we're at and how much sets have tended to cost when they first come out. I mean, if you're willing to drop, somewhere in that range, $6,000 to $8,000 to $10,000, again, the rewards in the game compound over time. What I'm not even including here is if you have the SPS already, you're earning staking rewards, you're earning vouchers on that, on the SPS that you have already, right? You get any and all other benefits potentially that might come to SPS, right? You can rent out any extra that you have or whatever the case is. So there's a lot of different elements that I'm not even including here. And like I said earlier, guilds and tournaments I'm not even talking about. But that is why. So again, I don't have that kind of capital to be spending every 18 months, but I understand why people that do have that capital choose to spend it on something like Splinterlands, especially if you believe in the long-term thesis. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Obviously, these numbers are going to be weird for some people. They're too high for some folks, but to me, they make sense. And it's a situation where I think, had things been different for me, maybe like a year ago or even early on in Rebellion, I might have gone heavier in Rebellion. And if things are different for me in April, or by the time April rolls around, I might go heavy onto Conclave Arcana. But I'm just explaining, not for myself and my own perspective, but for the general kind of perspective here, for those who have the capital, why it looks like it could be a good, dare I say, store of value. And again, none of this financial advice, but it's like a store of value. You recoup your assets. And even if the card values go down over time, the SPS value, ideally, in the long run, goes up. And you're collecting that over the course of 18 months, 36 months, and then, of course, once it goes to wild, indefinitely, right? So that's just a thought, sharing with you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, but I will catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.